Welcome to the Murphy, Sam, and Jodi After the Show podcast. We appreciate you hanging out with us a little bit longer after the show.
And today it's the Keep Depression at Bay podcast. Keep it away if possible. We've just touched on this before, but let's go deep. Every single human being experiences depression sometimes. Sometimes it's almost always there, underlying. Other times it just creeps in and, at difficult times when that makes sense, when life knocks you down. Mm-hmm. One that's very real that I can recall is postpartum. Was so real, unbelievably real to me after the kids were born.
I remember that happening to you, and what's crazy about that, and of course, you're the one who can speak from the experience. You don't really realize it until someone says, maybe this is what you got, because it's such a strong filter that you see things through.
I guess.
It's bleak.
Yeah, it was very bleak. Your sister came over to the house to see, it was after Taylor was born, and she was like, I think that you need to go outside. I had not been outside for days. Newborn child, first time doing that, and even something that small did help. So things to keep depression away and at bay. Number one, it's so crazy that it's the basics. You think about everything in life. If you've worked the basics, that's the foundation. Number one, a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
You have to think clearly, to make clear, logical, and not emotional decisions. You have to be well rested.
Sleep is body repair. That's really literally what your body's doing, which is why you need the sleep.
Mind repair too. Mm-hmm. It's everything. Yeah, good night's sleep. And have you ever tried to make a big decision on very little sleep? It leans more negative or doubtful even.
Yeah. And as you get older, that's even more difficult. There were times where I could skate by on 5 hours of sleep now, and if I do that now, it really clocks me later in the day.
Yeah.
By the way, this isn't human related; it's dog related. But when Jodi was reading up on the dogs the other day, because our oldest Champ, and you said that it's 16 to 20
Older
hours
dogs,
of sleep per day.
They can sleep up to
That's like almost literally sleeping all day.
All the time. And I know he does that.
Right. But you see,
they need it.
But that's your lesson from nature right there, right? They're not the ones having to think about it. It's not late night TV keeping them up, When they're tired, they go to sleep,
The girls were at the house the other night, Taylor and Phoebes, and it was approaching 8:15, and
that's late.
I came up and hugged them, and they knew what that meant. Yeah. Like, I'm about to go take a shower and get ready for bed. And Phoebe said, it's getting to be mom's bedtime. Yeah. And that seems so lame, but that is me trying to do basics and take self-care.
You're also getting up at an unusually early time, right?
It's
3:45 in the morning.
My joke with the kids, my kids, whenever it's like, no, don't call me after 8 or something. I was like, it's a school night. Which, as an adult, it's a school night. I got to go to bed.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So number one way to keep depression at bay, not that you can't prevent it, but you can help with the basics, is having a good night's sleep. Number two, regular exercise. That does not necessarily mean you have to run a half marathon.
Right.
It does mean you are meant to move and get out and move. And if you can't get out because of weather or whatever, move around your house. You are meant to move. Burst of exercise. It sends oxygen to your organs.
Right.
I can remember times in my life when I was very, very active, like when I worked at the health club, and something about that. I was on my feet all day long, and it was very busy. And at the end of the day, I did not feel tired. I felt energized, but because of the movement.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you're right. I think it's important. A lot of people will avoid it because they're thinking,
it's hard.
I got to push weight. I got to, like you said, run or get out and jog for 30 minutes. It's none of that. Really, walking is enough to make a circulatory difference. I know it's not heavy cardio or anything like that, but just moving is better. For me, keeping the 2 workouts a week that I have kept, and sometimes I don't feel like doing it, and it's more weight training than anything else. And that's just
fantastic.
I'm doing that for physical strength for the future. That's really what that's about for me, is because I am type 1, but it does. I'll tell you, it'll bust stress too. It really does.
Type 1 diabetic for anybody who's listening.
Oh, what did I say?
You mean. He always throws around the short terms. I'm a type 1. I'm a T1D.
Yeah, type 1 diabetic. Yeah.
T1D.
Right.
I love that group.
I walked the other day and it was pretty chilly. And at first I was really cold and I was bundled up and I thought, why am I doing this? But the fresh air is fantastic. And by the end of it, my body was warm and the temperature had gone down the longer I was out there, listening to a podcast, walking, all of that.
I know this is semi-related to that. It's not exactly exercise, but just the sunshine itself.
Mm-hmm.
Just like there are times I just go put myself on the patio when it's a gorgeous day and the birds are out, the ducks are out, and Gus is in the yard. And it's like that in itself is like, forget what you're worrying about. This is nice.
It's true. That's also about being smart enough to change your surroundings.
Yeah.
If you're expecting to remain positive or even creative, change your surroundings. Go to a different place in the house or outside.
Well, sunlight's good for you, unless, of course, you're on a medication that makes you extra sunlight sensitive. There are some medicines that do that. But, sunlight is the natural source of vitamin D.
It is.
And again, I'm sorry to keep using dogs as examples here, but,
it's okay.
But you think of it like both of our dogs, when you'll open the door and it's a beautiful day, the first thing they want to do is they go out and they just plop right down in the sun.
They're sunning.
Yeah. And so, again,
we have 3. You're saying both of the big ones that have a shorter hair. The Sparky, the little one, he looks like a rug. He has like 3 coats because he
is a long-haired Chihuahua.
Yeah, long hair.
I don't think that's the word she was looking for.
Anyway, number 1, good night's sleep. Number 2, regular exercise. You are meant to move. It doesn't mean you have to be an Olympic athlete, but it does mean you are meant to move, and you will find that it pays dividends. It also is good for your brain. If you have a lot on your mind, if you're stressed, go walk, go exercise, and you'll feel it slipping away from you.
Yeah.
Again, it's the basics. Number 3 on the list, nutrition. Eat good food. Eat good food. Try to eat food that you prepare yourself and do less pickup. We're in a world
That's a difficult thing in the world today.
It's true.
Most people do not have the time to be able to cook like that. And in some cases, it's a lost art. Like Sam's quite the cook and has been for a long time. But if that's not something that you've done, but I'm sure you even struggle with that too, right? As much as you love to cook, the day runs out and you're kind of like,
Yeah, there's days where you can whip up something quick, but it's like, just not now.
Right. And I think that's the world.
It's fun. I feel blessed now. It's so funny. You can't know this when you're little, but when I was growing up, Murphy, we've talked about this a little bit, that my family, my parents were definitely blue collar. My dad was definitely a blue collar. He was a carpenter. And my mom, there were times when she didn't work at all, and it was very little going out to eat, very little even less fast food. And she cooked all the time. And what did she do at night when she would teach me to clean the kitchen and I was cleaning the kitchen? She was fixing my dad's lunch for the next day at work with our leftovers.
Oh, wow.
So no leftovers did not get wasted.
Yeah.
He ate them the next day until they were gone, and she made his lunch. I remember the pans. It looked like a cake pan, and she would put foil over it. We didn't have Tupperware. Not until later, but anyway.
That's why you had to eat it immediately.
Got you another cake there? No.
Anyway, what's so funny is that I would be jealous or envious, I guess is the word, of families that I knew got to go out to eat a lot. Now, he liked to do that, and we would do that when we could afford it.
Yeah.
But I'm so grateful for that because it is a norm for me to go to our pantry and fridge and to cook.
Yes.
I cook a few times a week.
Yeah, you do, and you're a very good cook.
It's just a traditional thing in me.
Even if you haven't shopped, there's something in there you can make.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's creative. So good nutrition, eat good food. Try to eat good food. It does matter. It is one of those basics.
And you actually can do that eating out if it's just the choices that you make.
Order the right things.
Yeah,
correct. Right. Number 4, engage in a hobby that has nothing to do with your 9 to 5. Engage in something that you like. I told Murphy that, can I tell this? On the low, just the other day, we were talking about the new year, and I highly suggested to Murphy, who is a workaholic, who works all the time, would work all the time if given, extra hours in the day, please do something every day that you enjoy.
Right.
I mean,
and what I enjoy is work. So that's the problem, right?
Great advice, Jodi. Thanks.
Well, I can just tell you or suggest. I mean, I can't live it.
You know what? But I think the key word there is something that's not necessarily related to your work.
That's what I'm saying.
The flip side of that and I don't remember which book it was that I was reading recently, where the author was basically saying that following your passion is not always the best advice for a career.
Correct.
Why? Because sometimes your passion is not something that's really going to help make money for you. It would be difficult to, to grow and do what you need to do. And then the thing that you're passionate about, you become less passionate about because you're not.
Yeah. Your passion can enrich your life. It does not have to be your 9 to 5.
Right.
For sure.
But, for me, it's probably just music. It's always been my great escape. It's probably one of the greatest gifts that I would say that my parents, especially my dad, gave me because he was always playing music in the house and had an appreciation for it.
Sure.
And so I know that's not a hobby that I'm doing hands-on and creating something, which is fine. But the other thing that's cathartic for me, which we've been talking about on the show this week, is purging and getting rid of stuff and cleaning up and simplifying. You know what I mean?
When are you going to start doing that? You've been working too much.
Yeah, I have been. But little things, things like that, that's not a work-related thing. It's kind of like you're saying,
engage in a hobby.
Engage in a hobby. But like when you were saying go outside a minute ago, I think sometimes just stopping in the moment where you're stressed out about something and changing your scenery, like you said, even if it's not exercise related, is another relief. So whether it's just a hobby or taking a breath for a moment to enjoy something, or a song or two in your earbuds or something, that can make a difference.
So that was number 4 on the list, engage in a hobby. Number 1, I'm going to recap. Good night's sleep. Then at regular exercise, you're meant to move. Number 3, good nutrition. Number 4, engage in a hobby. Number 5, limit alcohol consumption. It does not help.
Hey, I got one.
Yeah, me too.
I know.
Along the lines of actually eliminating it from it. That's the ultimate limitation.
I can see that, though. For people who still partake. I do partake and I enjoy it.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And partaking in moderation is a great thing. That's the thing, as we know, if you've listened to us for a while, that, Sam and I, we're not able to do the moderation thing.
There's no such word as moderation.
So, stopping was in my best interest. But I can tell you, as time has worn on, I certainly don't miss it. What I really don't miss is the hangover and the sluggishness or the dehydration or anything else that kind of goes along with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's a lot that's not desirable that goes along with it.
Because I just remember going to parties and, you think you're getting energized, but it's actually working against you. And then I would usually be the one to accidentally shut the party down, So.
I feel, and I don't like to use this word a lot, but blessed because, don't worry, I don't have a desire at all anymore with the alcohol.
Yeah, that's good.
Because I know there are people that, it's always there. Most people, it's constantly there, but it's like I don't have a craving. I don't have a thought. I don't like to be around it.
Right.
But I don't have it's not the thing that's like, maybe I could have a drink today.
Fantastic.
Or look at that. I'd love to try that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
It is literally gone from my head. But that's me. That's me personally.
Right. Well,
that's my brain.
And you are blessed for that.
And probably what's happened is I think you also, even if you have the thought, you just know how to handle the thought.
Yeah.
You don't fight the thought.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just comes and goes. And
it probably doesn't taste good anyway.
Okay.
Not like it used to.
Right.
I thought of you, Murphy, back staying with the alcohol discussion on Christmas Eve at our home when Taylor made a gallon of pomegranate martinis, and a lot of us I was having them, my cousins were, Taylor had, we were all partaking. I thought for 1 second, I thought, I know he's okay with this, or he would say something, he would pull me to the side and say something, but that is not something we could have done years ago. Like, you literally have come a long way.
Yeah,
and we would not have done that to you in your home.
Right. And look, there are plenty of people that have been, sober for a very long time that can't and don't want it in the house.
Correct.
That one's not a problem for me. I mean, the fun and the, oh my God, it tastes great, and that, I mean, it's you can kind of sort of slightly feel left out, but that's that trick. You got to watch that part of your brain, because you don't need that part of your brain talking. It just doesn't matter that I'm left out of that, because I don't need to be. I would be the one to finish the entire gallon.
We need another one.
Don't touch the martinis. Yeah.
Isn't it funny that everybody is struggling with something silently almost every day that you just don't know about?
Yeah.
I didn't know that you had the whole feeling left out thing about it. I just thought you would,
Well, no, I'm not.
Want a drink?
It's not something that I was like spending the evening thinking about. It just occurred. It was one of those flash for a moment things. It was maybe it was just more of an observation of wow. So I'm not. This is not something I'm a part of. I'm not really connecting with it. I'm glad to see everybody's excited. Yeah. I didn't have any problem with it. I certainly was not envious of it. That was not it at all.
Well, they were strong, and I will tell you at one point.
Yeah, I could tell. Because
keep talking about them.
Right. Everybody that was sitting on the couch was sounding a little bit different than me.
Well,
I was pretty coherent.
After my second one, it was a short glass. Mm-hmm. I put it down and I thought, this is Christmas Eve. I want to remember these conversations. I want to, just be right.
Yeah.
So
Jodi and her cousins were sitting on the couch, got a little silent, and we're doing a lot of smiling.
Yeah. Well, guess who's cleaning up tonight?
I did, or the next morning. Okay, so limit alcohol consumption being number 5 on the list. And number 6, this is a very beautiful, good one, and it is strengthen social connections. It doesn't mean you have to make 100 new friends.
Right.
It just means strengthen the social connections that you already have. It helps you more than you know to have just a social connection.
We are social beings, even though it can be tricky sometimes. Some people are not extroverted at all. Mm-hmm. Again, going back to the dogs here. Sorry.
No, I love it.
But dogs exist in packs. I mean, again, when you
so do cigarettes.
Right. Right. But nature. I mean, look, nature models a whole lot of things for us. You know what I'm saying?
Whoa,
it's true. So that's why I'm bringing up the whole dog thing or other animals. I mean, look at animals exist in packs. Geese fly in formation. I mean,
they rely on each other.
Right, exactly. And so as creatures, yes, you can clearly see that the social part has a purpose.
It does. So, I can tell that. I'm introverted. I know I'm disguised as an extrovert, but I'm actually introverted. And I know that because the way that I recoup is alone. I need that time. I go into the family room and close the door almost every evening for a little while, just me, or go on my walks. That's me being introverted. But I can always tell after having spent time with a friend, even on a bad day, there's something about just having someone else to talk to. Not that let's sit down and talk. Not even that, just a ha-ha.
Yeah.
It's like a light coming into your life.
Yeah.
It's like light coming in.
Yeah.
Social.
You're a mix. It's only when but I think everybody needs their recoup time. So everybody at some point should probably be an introvert to recover, so that you can then go back out to being
an extrovert for your social connection.
Because there are times I absolutely need that recoup, and it's peaceful and it's wonderful. But I'm also a social being.
You're energized by social.
And I don't know that I would call myself extroverted. I don't know that I would label myself at all.
There's probably a test.
But I do enjoy. Yeah, I do enjoy. Connecting with people, because for me, that's just one of the, it's one of the joys of life. While we're here, being able to share and experience things with others, you can't do that when you're dead. You know what I mean?
Well, there's the
quote. You can be by yourself when you're dead.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying.
You get a lot of alone time when you're dead.
Right. So, but I'm not making any light of that whatsoever. Really what you're talking about there for people. That's why it's so important to check on the elderly and family members that are older, that as they age, they may not have their friends anymore, right?
Mentally vulnerable.
Right, exactly. And so keeping those who are aging engaged, improves mental health.
Look, they even say everything to them.
Having a pet for an elderly person is a form of connection, of a social external connection,
So to wrap this, I will say this. Honorable mention being, which is not on this list. This list of 6 is, are the basics. Make sure you're doing the basics if you're struggling with depression creeping in. And these basics are what we covered here. But honorable mention, talk to someone, talk to a professional, seek professional help.
Yeah.
Because depression is real. Every single human being experiences it. You do not have to experience it alone.
Absolutely.
Unless you're an introvert.
Missed any part of the show? Get it all on the Murphy, Sam, and Jodi podcast.